All right. Well, welcome everybody. We are so excited to be here with each and every one of you. We love absolutely doing these fairs with Diversity in Ed, a wonderful partnership. And we're here today for a very important, crucial, and fun webinar. The topic is the power and secrets of LinkedIn, how to use this powerful job searching tool. And it is just that. It is the most amazing job searching tool. And even more so right now, 2021, it is, I mean, there's no competition. There really isn't. And everyone needs to be on LinkedIn. If you are not, you will after this presentation. I know it. We hope to inspire you to get on there, create your profile, and start networking with at least 30 people, and you will see why. But without going further into that, we do get very excited. I want to introduce us. My name is Vera Savani Hughes, and my wonderful partner is Stephanie Rank. We are Idaho Next Steps Coaching. And here, what we are motivational career campaign educators. We love what we do, and that's why we're here today to share as much knowledge. That's what we do behind the scenes is read, 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 connect, 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 so that we can share as much information with you and hopefully it benefits you on your journey. And if you need our help, we've got your back. You can always contact us. That is our contact information. We are both certified professionals through PARWCC. So we are career coaches and resume writers through the Professional Association of Resume Writers and Career Coaches. Okay. Oh, go ahead, Stephanie.
And we're just so excited. And a little bit more about what we do. We do help clients with career campaign portfolios. So we focus on resumes, cover letters, and LinkedIn, which is what this topic is about all today, is that LinkedIn profile. We also do a ton of career coaching, helping you figure out who you want to be when you grow up, helping you through interviews, assessments, job searching strategies, and more. We just love to help our clients land that job. And so LinkedIn today is going to be a huge factor in helping you network, look at jobs, and land that job.
Absolutely.
May I interrupt and say hello,
Yes.
welcome, and we are so glad and we are honored to have you guys. Listen, I'm not only here to say welcome and thank you for being here and doing this presentation because what a treat this is for us all. But I'm here for information as well. I know these ladies; they are the best. And let me tell you, I have my pen and my pad, and I have taken notes as well. So if I'm here doing it, I know they better be. They better pay close attention. You're going to get some really great information today. So thank you all for your time and for your expertise and sharing it with us all. It's going to greatly benefit us. And yeah, please get started. And I won't interrupt again. Maybe I'll think about it. But for now, I'm listening.
All right.
Thank you,
Thank you, Trina. We really appreciate that. And yes, everybody that's here, we hope you're just as excited as Trina. And if you don't have something to write, I mean, any piece of paper or a pen, or if you're on your laptop, anything, write down notes, please, as much as you can swipe from us. We give you the liberties to swipe away and just, take every little nugget that we can give you, because that's what this is all about. So let's get into it. This is our objectives today, and networking in this digital age. So, understand your profile sections, that's what we're going to do today, discuss what to add, what not to add, how to check your privacy and job application settings, and of course, using LinkedIn as a job searching tool.
Lots and lots of information. So first, let's set it up. Why is LinkedIn important for you to use? We have a lot of folks that are social media adverse, but in this case, this is one platform we highly recommend, especially if you're job searching. So first off, it's a powerful job board. It has the connections to the organizations, the employees that work to that or with that organizations, the job postings that they have for that organization. It's huge. It's a wonderful job platform, and it's our favorite. Outside of Indeed, we love LinkedIn. It's a way to build your brand. We're going to focus on targeting your brand on LinkedIn. So when folks want that type of job role for candidate, they're going to look for somebody like you. It actually helps you rank your name on Google. Has anybody ever Googled themselves? One of the first things you want to see is your LinkedIn profile. It's professional in nature. Then later, if it's Facebook and Instagram and all those fun platforms, that's great. But really, you want the first thing for recruiters to find is your LinkedIn profile. Next, it's a way to maintain your contact list. We're going to talk a lot about connections, so we'll go more into detail. Again, it's a way to research these companies. So you don't have to go to every company page. You can see a job and go, oh, this looks interesting. Let me check out this organization and learn a little bit about them and then see who works for them. If the employees have tagged that company on that profile, then you're able to see everybody in that organization. You can stay in touch with industry news. It's just like a news feed on every other platform. You can see everything that everybody is posting, and that shares information within your field. So half of my contact list are my clients, and the other half are my associates in this industry. Actually, a third, and then the other third is my previous experiences. So all my colleagues from all my previous roles. And so what's fun is I get to keep in touch with what's happening with my previous colleagues, former colleagues. I'm able to see what's going on in the career coaching world. And then I'm able to keep track of my clients and find out like, hey, did they land that job, right? So you're able to stay in touch with news. And with that, it's a wonderful networking tool. No longer, especially after this last year, can you actually go out for a cup of coffee? Or do you have to meet with somebody locally, right, to have that cup of coffee? You now can meet with anybody in the world and potentially have that cup of coffee over Zoom or over WebEx or anything like that. So it's a huge networking tool. With that, we have some stats to show you. So 94% of recruiters are using LinkedIn to find candidates like yourself. It is the go-to platform for recruiters to find candidates. That's the number one reason you need to be on here. We are in Boise, Idaho area, and there was an Amazon distribution center that was set up this last year, it just opened. And several of our clients were contacted through LinkedIn because they had the right profile set up. So it does happen and it does work. So absolutely, just knowing recruiters are looking for you, that's a huge factor. Next, 85% of jobs are filled through networking. This is actually up from 80% from last year alone. So with everything going on, with the job market just being crazy right now and chaotic and all of these job openings and then everybody looking, it's more important now, just by 5%, but still a huge fact of 85% of jobs are still filled through networking and connections. So keep that in mind. And just a little side note, if you're in sales, operations, or even tech, 47% of those type of jobs are filled through who you know. And it makes sense. Sales, very people focused, technology in a way, very people focused, and operations as well. Like you want to trust your colleagues. And so it's very big on your reputation in your industry.
All right, so let's get into it. Understanding your profile. So how do you become an all-star on LinkedIn, right? Everybody that is, if you're not already on LinkedIn, like I mentioned, I know right after this, you'll just be inspired to do so. And so we want to get you to that all-star level. First and foremost, your profile photo. It's amazing how many people, clients that we know, and they'll come to us and they have a resume, they have a cover letter that we still need to revamp. But they're like, oh yeah, I think I've got a LinkedIn profile, right? Yeah, once upon a time, maybe somebody created it for me, or I created one a long time ago, but I don't use that, right? It is so amazing how we hear that time and time again. And even if they do, yeah, I do have one, and they have the content possibly, but they don't have a photo, or their photo is hidden, right? Because their privacy settings are so they're absolutely just so like tight that you have to be a friend in order to see who they are. So just something we'll talk about a little bit more afterwards, to get, like to be careful with those privacy settings. So your profile photo, you need it in order to become an all-star. These are some don'ts. right? So classic examples of, you don't want your photo to look like any of these folks, right? You know, these are great for social media, Facebook, when you're, you know, like just sharing with friends and family, like, hey, I'm camping, or but even then, you know, as you can see, one of those photos that we have titled unprofessional, right? You even have to be careful nowadays with your social media, right? Because hiring professionals might look, and, you know, if you don't want them to see certain photos, then you definitely want to just make sure it's on private, right? You know, but just, these are just examples that we want to, you know, stay clear of. Not too dark. You want nice lighting, but not too much brightness. You definitely don't want to be with someone else in the photo. Just, you know, just nice and professional. You know, remember, this is part of your branding. So what's your first impression that you want to give off to the hiring professional that doesn't know you yet? And again, just more examples, right? You know, we can see, oh, great, the guy's a guitar player. And that might even line up with his branding. But if we can't see his face, then again, it's not a prime photo. It's not optimal. And then, or you're too far away, too up close. And then, of course, an icon, right? We want to, unless, you know, unless somebody's like, no, 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 I don't have a photo just yet. Okay, we understand. But you want to try to avoid anything aside from just a photo of who you are. And just to kind of stress that a little bit more, what we look for is just a nice shot, right? We usually ask our clients from chest up, and then we crop it a little bit just so we have some like wiggle room. And so you just want to make sure that it's, you know, you're either facing forward. I mean, I do have one, and please go ahead and check out our LinkedIn's, you know, while, you know, like after the presentation, you know, I'm kind of a little bit sideways, right? But you can still see my face. I'm looking at the camera, and smile. We want to see your smile. We want to know that you're a happy professional, and that you're enthusiastic about your career.
Then after that is your profile header. This is the second important thing for your profile. So this will include like your headline. This is auto-populated by LinkedIn. So it'll say your job title with the job that you work, or the company that you work for. So mine would say motivational career campaign educator at Idaho Next Steps Coaching, right? This is an opportunity for you to state your value. So mine says something like helping clients to land the jobs that they want, right? I'm telling the person that's viewing my profile immediately what I can do. If you are more entry level, maybe this would include more keywords. We'll have an example of this later in the presentation, but maybe it's marketing and communications. I'm a project manager, and then I do the little squiggly, and it'll say stakeholder engagement, communications, just a couple of key terms if you're really stuck. But if you can provide a value statement of what you bring to the table, that's huge prime real estate for recruiters to go, wow, this person is exactly what I need. So think about that headliner. Don't just leave it at the auto-populated LinkedIn version. Second, we do want to show your zip code and location. It's just one of those things where if I don't know where you're at, it just raises a red flag, and we try our best to minimize all red flags so they just want to call you immediately. So have your location. Of course, you can think about your contact information. So this could be just your email, or your email and phone number, depending on how comfortable you are sharing that information. And of course, your industry. We highlight this because if you've ever looked at that drop-down list, it's extensive. We've had to spend a few minutes looking through, okay, what exact industry is this client needs to be in? Because recruiters are using these drop-down menu items to populate their search queries to find you. So you want to make sure that it's accurate. So again, this is right underneath your picture. There's a little pencil on the side, and then you just fill out all of this information.
All right. And then that leads into the About Me section, right? Just so, you know, on your marketing and documents, right? As marketing educators, career marketing campaign educators, we work on your documents. And then this is that online presence, right? You have to have the same TLC that you created on your documents that you do on this online presence. So if you have that great photo, you've got that great headliner, right? That, how Stephanie was saying, is all part of your branding. So then the About Me section is going to be just as important, right? If it's true that Nationwide resume, you know, that they're looking at your resume resume for about 6 to 20 seconds, well, then you want to make sure that right off the bat, they understand your value. What is your value proposition in the About Me section? So what are you going to include? Just like a professional summary, you would include your experience, your education, your top skills. What's your special sauce? What makes you uniquely you? Because there's nobody else like you, right? Even if there's, 100 other people that are doing something similar or more, there's something about you that stands out. And you want to make sure to just to showcase that on your About Me section.
In your experience. This is probably the easiest part of LinkedIn. So absolutely work through your experience and what you want to showcase. So resumes are 10 to 15 years. That's the standard for a 1 to 2 page resume, right? So think about your LinkedIn almost the same way. How far back do you want to go? So first off, let's get into some details, your roles. You don't have to be exact on LinkedIn. What you want to do is look at their drop-down menu item. So if you put in teacher, there will be different types of teachers, and you could be teacher, select that one, or you could say history teacher, art teacher, whatever those options are. The idea is that if you're using the drop-down menu items, again, that's what the recruiters are doing. So if you have some fancy title that's not auto-populating, you can still put that in there, but at the same time, it doesn't help with the recruiter side of things. So keep that in mind when you're selecting this. So a medical technician, if it was a medical technician too, I personally would say, I don't care, put medical technician, because that's a drop-down item, and that way the recruiter can find you, right? Your resume can say technician too. The organizations, this one can be slightly tricky. Not all organizations have a LinkedIn page, but if they do, make sure you're connecting with the correct organization page. So some of these parent companies can be a little confusing just because you have different locations or somehow the titles are a little different. So just double check when you connect with a company that it's the right company, the right location. If there's not a company page, that's okay. Just go ahead and type in the name and just call it good. There's nothing else you can do about that. It's just best to connect if you can. Add your dates. You can add months if you'd like. If not, stick with the years. And then, of course, job descriptions. There are 2 strategies when it comes to job descriptions. If you like your bullets on your resume, use the bullets. It's easy to copy and paste them over. You might as well. Otherwise, as in this example on screen, you can do a paragraph style. I do find that a lot of upper executives like paragraphs where entry, associate level, mid-level, we tend to stick with more bullet points. You can do so much more with bullet points, more information, more metrics, more examples. Either way works. Just have something in there explaining what you do. Again, thinking of your value and some impact statements like what have you done? What are you most proud of? So again, bullets or that paragraph.
And then, of course, just like in your marketing documents, you want to make sure to showcase your education. Every job posting out there, they did make them for a reason, right? And so when that hiring professional gets your documents, or recruiters are looking, right, for that perfect candidate, they're trying to fill those roles in. And so they're looking, okay, is this person qualified? If they're looking at your LinkedIn, you want to make sure to showcase all of it. So the whole gamut, not just, so if you have a bachelor's, a master's, of course you add that in. You want to make sure all the information is on there, the university you went to, but licenses and certifications are just as important, because if there's something to set you apart, again, right, it's just an added value. Everything you have to think is like, what is my value? And if it can set you apart, and if it's true that nationwide about 250 there's applicants are actually applying for one role, that is astronomical, right, to think about it. And if they're looking you up to kind of like push them a next step, and you've got all this great information on there, make sure to have that. We're hearing more and more people just, they've done a lot through the pandemic, and they decided, you know what, I'm going to go on Udemy and, just to learn a certain skill, and they get a certification on there and add it, right? Because all of that matters. It means you're constantly learning, growing, and that's how that's how you showcase it. One thing, just like Stephanie was mentioning, so I want to make sure to say that as well, is keep it up to date, right? So just like you do everything else, anything that might possibly, be quote unquote outdated. So if you have your master's or your bachelor's and it was quite a long time ago that you received that, of course you keep it on there. But you know what? Drop the year, right? It's okay. We don't have to have the year on there, as long as you're showcasing what you did and what you've accomplished. So just last 10 to 15 years as far as resume standards. But when it comes to education and certifications, actually, you want to make sure that it's like, if it's anything past 5 years, really, you can drop the year.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
We try to help a lot of our clients with age discrimination. We
Mhm.
find that if you're in your 50s, it's just more difficult, more challenging. That's not to discourage you. It's just think more of what can I do to make myself look attractive to these recruiters. And my greatest example with this is if you have a marketing degree from the 90s, we market so differently now with social media. It drives me insane. I'm oh my gosh, I won't even go there. But you want to think about those things. It's not that you're inexperienced or lack skill. It's just how do I make myself attractive and not cause those red flags. And I forgot to round off last slide about the organizations. Resumes do stick to 10 to 15 years. I'll repeat that because that's super important if you're working on your resumes. LinkedIn, you have some more freedom. But again, think about how far back you actually want to showcase. Anything past 2000, we just start to, let's think about this. Is it worth it? Are those jobs even worthwhile? Or does it just potentially age you out? I have some clients, they're very proud of their history and we go all out and that's great. But if you're hesitant and you're worried about it, or maybe you've just been unsuccessful, try removing it and just sticking to the last 10 years or so and see what happens. You just never know. If you're entry level, meaning you just graduated from college, and you have your high school stuff, remove high school, right? So once you're out of high school, you remove that and you add your college information. Once you're about 2 years into your career, maybe some of those things from your college experience don't matter anymore. So it just all depends on your story. And this is how we help our clients is we look at it from, a third party, we're very unbiased and we look for the best way to tell their stories. In fact, I just had a client I worked on yesterday. I actually added back in some of his college experience because it was just, he graduated in 19 and I liked what I saw and I wanted to add more to that story than just the book sales associate job that he had. I'm like, no, this is way more attractive than just that. So again, you just have to think about your story. So thanks, Vera. I just wanted to reiterate that because I'm like, oops, I forgot to continue on that.
I know. It's so much information,
so
you
much
guys.
Information.
As you can see, even us, we're like so excited that we're like, wait, what? Every time there's just so much, right? This can be really a whole course, right? Not just a webinar. And so that's why, there's just so much information, so much to learn. And we're constantly needing to update ourselves. Because like we mentioned in the beginning, LinkedIn 2020 is different than LinkedIn 2021.
Yes.
Even so, this is why it's so so great that these webinars exist, and that we're constantly looking at what our career campaigns look like.
Right.
So yeah, with skills, is that you?
Yeah, that's me.
I was gonna say,
yeah,
yeah.
I just went off on a tangent there. So back to LinkedIn. So your skills, you actually have to have 5 listed to become an all-star. So that's minimum. But what I want to tell you about here is that you actually have the opportunity to pin your top 3. So usually it's just 1, 2, 3, and then you can see more if you'd like. Maxing out at 50. What happens here is once you get started, your connections can start endorsing you. So if I go to Vera's profile, it automatically pops up with like 4 skills and they would say, what do you endorse Vera for? And I could say LinkedIn profiles. And over time, if she had 30 and that's her most endorsed skill, it becomes number 1. And then career coaching might be number 2. And then randomly Microsoft Excel might be her number 3. What does Microsoft Excel have to do with career coaching? And so you have the opportunity to go in, edit those skills, max them out to 50 if you'd like, but then pin your top 3. So if you're in project management, you want to have project management up there. You want to have stakeholder engagement or communications or project scopes, like something. So you get to pick your top 3 and then make sure those are pinned. As you can see, there are 35,000 skills listed, and I'm sure that has increased since a year ago. So there are lots and lots and lots of skills. Again, use the drop down menu options as much as you can. But if there's something you want to add that's specific, I find this a lot with software programs. Maybe there's a tech software program that you need that you want to showcase, and of course add it. But if you can, use those motivational, drop down items.
I mean, I just need to say something. I hate to interrupt. I mean, you guys are doing such an awesome job, but 35,000 skills. Like, I know I'm an overachiever, not because I say so, because other people tell me, but 35,000, I'm still over there with, okay, at least 5. And I think I have that one, but 35,000?
Oh, no,
really?
you max out at 50. You
Yeah, but that's
35,000 to choose from.
It's like, what?
Good thing there's a max, right, Trina? Good thing there's a max of 50, right? But I mean, I know you.
For it.
She's
Oh,
like,
and I've hit that max. I've had clients and I'm like, wait, what? I'm already at 50. Like, hold on. What do I want to remove?
right.
Because there are
Yeah.
multiple there. I mean, you could put in quality and you'll have, I don't know how many, 20 options for quality. Well, which ones do you want? And it's hard. You have to pick the ones that you think are most appropriate for your brand, for your profile. But yeah, max out at 50, guys. Like, you just have 35,000 to choose from.
So in other words, every industry is in there. That's what that means. Well, perfect. And then so right to it. So again, that this is all part of being an all-star. The connections, right? Once you've got all that down, and if you've created your profile, put in the TLC to make sure the content is correct, have that wow factor, the branding, connect, right? You need to connect. So where do you start? Well, first of all, it's very important to know that you have to have a minimum of 30 connections to really be visible, right, on recruiters' lists. So you want to make sure to not, and it's just another way that LinkedIn also verifies, like, okay, this isn't like a robot, this is an actual person, right? So they just, it's also for safety issues and that sort of thing, privacy. So just 30 people that you start off with, right? And it starts growing and growing and growing. Trust me, that sprouts very easily, and those branches start branching out to others, and you won't believe it how quick those connections start adding up. And so we always say, one advice that we have, start off with past colleagues, friends, family. And that regard, people, they should anyways know that this is a place to be professional, where you can really like be a cheerleader for each other, and then have that support system, right? So if you are connecting with your past, colleagues and friends and family, you already know, hey, they're going to be supporting my posts, they're going to be supporting my efforts. And so it's just a great way to start. And then of course, if you get to 500 plus, then okay, I'm part of the VIP crew. Is really what that is. And believe it or not, I know if anyone here doesn't have a profile yet, or they just haven't gotten into the LinkedIn game just yet, the strategy, you'll be amazed, and we'd love to hear it. Is like how quickly you can get close even to that 500 plus, because people, you will see, once you're visible, people want to connect to you, especially if it makes sense for them in their industry. So it's a lot of fun.
And just something else I was thinking about, I'm just having all these random thoughts today. If you are in an industry where you're providing services like ourselves, do expect to get connected with other types of services. So for example, we get a lot of connections from marketing specialists, or maybe a CRM platform, or, oh, I'm a coach and I can make your business $1 million in a year, something like that. Like, you will get some of that. You do have to gauge, are the connections worth it for you? So always look through at their profile and think about that. Okay, back to you, Vera.
Yeah, well, no, that's it. Then you're an all-star. You guys, as long as you put in that work for it, it's like, woo, you get to be an all-star, and you are part of the world of LinkedIn, the amazing, productive. We hear so many stories. We just want to make sure to really emphasize that it's amazing, you guys. Like, our clients, people that don't even were adverse, and still are. Some of them are not really into social media, but they've come to really like LinkedIn and really appreciate it. Once you become an all-star and you are visible, I mean, really the opportunities are endless. So, I had a gentleman who was not on any of that. And, and he just recently got a great job. Why? Because he reached out, he applied, he reached out
Mhm.
on LinkedIn, and doesn't even have that many connections just yet, but he definitely had at least 30. And look at that. And it was closed, by the way, online. It had said that the job posting was closed, but he was like, gosh, I really like that. Let me just let them know I applied. And if it ever opens up again, well, voila, right? The recruiter said, oh, actually, we're opening that back up again because we didn't find the right candidate. Let me schedule you for next week. And now he has a job. So it's those type of powerful stories that we hear time and time again. So we look forward to you being an all-star. And next is upgrading your profile.
Yes. So everybody has become an all-star. LinkedIn will tell you how to become an all-star, right? So now we're going to teach you some tricks to help you upgrade your account to make it attractive to these recruiters. So first, let's just talk about all of these other experience sections that you can continue on. And I want to continue on that theme of how are you branding yourself, right? So the volunteer experience, organizations, honors and awards, we see those a lot with our clients because a lot of folks have experience doing that, especially if you're graduating soon, like you're 22, 23, 24, you might have more volunteer experience than professional experience. That's okay. Add it. Maybe you have some associations that you're a part of, add those. That builds your credibility. Honors and awards, absolutely. But the game is, how are you updating your brand as you grow in your career, right? So high school first, wonderful. And then you reach into college, and somewhere in your college years, high school is going to start dropping off. And then once you start your career and grow in your career, college drops off. Here's a great example. So I had a guy that was in real estate sales and had these really cool awards from sales, like, oh, I got gold level presidential award for selling 5 million in real estate. I mean, pretty nifty awards. I'm like, oh, wow, those are neat, from 10 years ago. So then the red flag was, well, what the heck happened? Like, granted, the pandemic was last year, but prior to that, what happened, right? What happened there? And so in the end, we did not add them to his profile because there was no need to. It'd been 10-year gap. Organizations, volunteer experience. I like to keep these current. If you're, again, starting your career, maybe it's appropriate to have those there because you want to show your experience. But as you grow in your career, there's no point in having a volunteer experience or an organization that you left 5, 6 years ago, right? So for us, if it's not within the last year or two, we're really questioning why we're keeping this experience on your resume as well as on your profile. It just adds clutter. And then these others could be helpful: projects, courses, patents, publications. These are some fun sections that you can fill out if they're appropriate and match your brand.
And then you open your world up to opportunities. In the world of LinkedIn. Yes, it not only, right, are you visible right after the 30 connections and all that good stuff, then you can actually choose to open yourself up by communicating, hey, I'm open to job opportunities. I'm actually looking. And so as you can see, this is from Stephanie's profile. You would click on open to, and then this drop down menu pops up and you can add in the details. So for example, they have every industry pretty much under the roof, right? And you can choose and of course, if you only have one job title per se that you're targeting, well, that's okay, right? You have up to 5 job titles that you can actually choose to add to your job search inquiry, and letting recruiters know that you're interested in those job roles. So for example, it makes sense that, right, for Stephanie, she is a career coach, she slash educator, right? She's a resume writer. So all of those services, you don't want to limit yourself either, right? So if there's similar titles that are like, let's say customer manager, or customer service manager, but then you see also customer service specialist or lead, right? There's different variations. You want to definitely add all of those because, again, they just help you in your efforts and your chances of a recruiter reaching out. And then location, right? Absolutely put your location, but again, be open to other opportunities. So for example, for us, we add a lot of times for our clients Boise metropolitan area because that encompasses all the little cities around Boise. But then now, because there's more remote work opportunities, that's when we click on remote. It's like, hello, I'm okay with staying home. As long as I have a nice paying job and doing what I love, I'm okay with it now. I'm used to it. We hear that time and time again. Clients are like, I didn't think I'd like this, but at this point, it's kind of weird going back to work, right? Even like extroverts and social people. So even just knowing like, there are possible opportunities to get back in the workforce, but, it might just be remote and where you're still seeing people through Zoom and that sort of thing. And so that's when you also click on United States, because you also just want to make sure again, right, that you're open to the whole United States for remote work as well. And then it's up to you. Oh, that's actually the next slide
Yeah,
where
that's
we
the
got a little
next
more
slide.
detail.
Yes.
Yes.
So due to the pandemic, LinkedIn came out with this new feature, hashtag open to work. If you've been on LinkedIn, you would have seen this on a few people's profile picture. So usually your option is, do you want to show the world, all LinkedIn members, or do you want to show just LinkedIn recruiters or recruiters using LinkedIn for that purpose? So you have that option. Now you have this option to add this green banner with the hashtag open to work. It's absolutely optional. Honestly, our clients is 50-50. Some like it, some don't. There's no industry, there's no age group, there's no common thing except some like it and some don't. So it's up to you. I do recommend if you're graduating, like you're a recent graduate, you might as well go for it just because your network is probably smaller. You may not know as many about many of these companies. And I will tell you, recruiters like the hashtag. There's not many recruiters that don't utilize it because they know you're actively looking. They don't want to waste their time. Right. So again, it's one of those options, when it comes to search queries that these recruiters are doing, make sure you're letting them know everything about you. If you're working though, obviously stick to the LinkedIn recruiter. You don't need to let your organization know that you're looking, not unless they're 100% okay with it. But absolutely check out this newer feature. It's probably about a year old now, but this newer feature and see if it works for you.
And then, of course, the banner photo. It's amazing. Our clients, we get a lot of clients who even are active on LinkedIn. So, they've got their career marketing campaign that we still need to revamp. But they, actually, quite sometimes we do get decent profiles where they have LinkedIn profiles that are pretty decent and have content on there and that sort of thing. But, it's amazing. No banner photo. And we see it time and time again. They have an actual photo of themselves, but no banner, almost like, oh, it's just a thing behind me. Like, no, no need for that. There's no special or importance about it. And actually it is, because just like your photo, it's the first thing, it's another way that you communicate. Right? This is communicating your brand, communicating your value to the hiring professionals. So, for example, Stephanie on here, this is a great photo to have, right? For what she does, it showcases once again and I work next to her, so I can definitely vouch for it. She's plucking away, right? That's what we do. And she's working on there. What you visualize is, oh wow, there she is doing, working on my career marketing portfolio, every single day, right? Really tailoring it and, dedicated. I mean, whatever it is that you visualize, or adjectives that pop in mind. But again, it's just something to help in your efforts. How do you stand out? And if your competition doesn't have a banner photo, that again, right? It pushes people a little bit more to give you a call because they're intrigued. And so take some time to look on splash.com, canva.com, and see, what do you identify with? If you're an educator right now, a teacher, what photos, of maybe, a classroom or books or anything that you really that really like calls to you. Or maybe it's a wonderful quote, like a photo like mine has a really great quote that I just really love. And so again, it just showcases my personality and how I want to come across to others. I recently did one for a nurse. Oh, I love this photo. I mean, it was just, anybody could just feel it, right? Right off the bat, it's like you honestly could feel it in your heart. I mean, obviously, we know all nurses what they've been doing this past year, and it's a photo of a nurse holding up the world, and it's just so impactful. right? So not only great marketing documents, but then also what a wow factor to have online, right? So there's definitely ways to level up your efforts.
And then the next step is just to update your URL. You can just go to the right side of your profile and click on edit your profile and URL. And what you want to do is just get rid of the letters and the numbers at the end of your auto-populated URL when you create your LinkedIn profile. What you want it to be is your name or something similar. So most of the time, just deleting those letters and numbers help. But if you have a common name, then maybe you have to get a little creative about, maybe it's instead of Stephanie-rank, maybe it's rank-Stephanie or S-rank or some combination of that. If your LinkedIn URL is on your resume, which it should be, then you want to make sure you have a cleaned up URL on your page there too. It's that another touch that means that you've paid attention to some of the details on your profile.
And then, of course, when it comes to checking your settings and privacy, there is a drop-down menu where you can actually, under your account, click on settings and privacy, and it's up to you really what you feel comfortable with. There's all kinds of, it asks you about, your photo and your summaries and your background information, your education, like how much you want to show the world. So in other words, how visible do you want to be, right? We do highly recommend, don't be too tight with your restrictions unless there is some reason for it. It's a way, because again, you make it harder, right, for those hiring professionals or recruiters that aren't linked up with you to view your information. And, a lot of times if you have it private, like we mentioned, and then you can't even see your photo, right, then it automatically, they don't have the time, right? They're bombarded right now. So as open as you can be, again, you want to showcase, to hiring professionals, this is a professional platform. And so don't be afraid to really, really showcase who you are and not make it hard. Be visible
Right.
to the world.
Especially if you're looking.
Yeah, especially if you're looking, exactly.
Okay, so we have about 5 minutes left, so we're gonna speed up just a bit because I want enough time for Q&A. A nice to have for your profile are these recommendations. They are not valid for any background checks, but it's a nice touch to have where your folks can see a little bit more about you. What I see most common is either no recommendations or recommendations from, again, 10 years ago. I don't know what it is with like 10-year, like, oh, this is a 10-year-old recommendation, or this award was from 10 years ago, but that's the trend I always see. So maybe, once a year, go through and ask for recommendations, or especially when you've ended a project or some sort of situation where it's almost like an end and it's easy to ask for a recommendation. That's always key. Or just once a year, go out and click on this button and ask for a recommendation. It auto populates with a message that you can personalize. And then, of course, give recommendations. It's kind of this tit for tat, like, oh, I give your recommendation, she's going to give me a recommendation. It's just kind of this trend that happens. So absolutely up your game by having these recommendations for the world to see up front instead of at the end where they're asking for those references. This is all about getting that phone call for that interview.
And this is a perfect example. This is a client that we worked for, Ali Peterson. So Stephanie actually worked on her career campaign portfolio. And she, in 45 days, she was able to land her new role. And this is by no means national average. It beats the national average of usually about 5 months. We actually consider and this is by stats, what's considered a short, landing, in other words, landing a new role timeline is about 3 months actually. So, but national average 5 months. So taking that into consideration, 45 days is like tomorrow, right? So, so she had the documents, she had that LinkedIn profile that really mirrored what she said on those documents, had that wow factor, the branding, had that beautiful banner photo, as you can see, and voila, right? So that's just an example that we wanted to showcase of what can happen possibly.
Yeah, and you could see the banner here, and you can see she didn't have a value statement because she was a recent graduate. And so we just had a bunch of areas that she had some skills in, and it worked, right? And if I remember right, she's an associate district manager for ADP. So absolutely, these documents and this profile can make a huge difference. So let me just tell you quickly about job searching on LinkedIn. This is why it's so powerful, is because it has this job tool. There are over 30 million companies posting 20 million jobs. And this stat is from last year. I guarantee it's gone up. So there are a ton of things you can do on here. You can look at these jobs. You can track your jobs. Track My Jobs is a way to see your saved jobs, your applied jobs, all of those items. And what's great is this page right here. So all of these system administrators, this is focused on the Boise area. And I can go over here and click on Teos and click on there and see what the organization is about. I can see that Lisa Howard's the recruiter. So, hey, I'm going to go connect with her after I apply. I want to go connect with her, let her know, hey, I applied for this job. Can't wait to hear from you. Or here's my value statement. Somehow connect with that recruiter. You can see your connections. So what if you apply and then you click on that and go, oh, hey, so-and-so, can you tell me more about this role, right? This is a wonderful job searching platform. I wish I had more time to dig in a little bit about this, but the profile mirrors this. If you're using this tool, absolutely have your profile connected and filled out. This Easy Apply, they've now changed it to just apply. The other one is apply with the arrow going out. That means you're going to the portal for the organization. Easy Apply just is using your LinkedIn profile. And so if you have your resume uploaded on the back end, that gets uploaded too, but they're usually using your profile. So absolutely fill this thing out.
So yes, checklist. As Trina mentioned in the beginning, she's writing those notes down. And if you haven't, we would love for you to take this moment to just write it down really quick, just to make sure. Do I have what I need to be that all-star on LinkedIn? So photo, right? Everything we said, just a great photo. About me section, make sure that's filled out. Your experience, that you actually write in your experience, the content, even whatever you choose, bullet points or summary. Education is on there, education, certifications, licenses, skills that you're actually putting in minimum of 5, but we definitely recommend more. 30 connections minimum. And then any other sections that you see fit for your story and to make sure to help you benefit you in your campaign, right, in your efforts. Your URL, or well, banner, right? We talked all about banner. So branding, URL, clean it up a little bit. If it's possible, just remove the extra numbers afterwards. Settings, be visible if you can, guys, please. We really advise that. And then ask for recommendations. Don't be afraid to do that.
And then if you want to connect with us, here we are. You can also just search for us in the search bar, Stephanie Rank, and then Vera Savannah Hughes. And then, of course, our company page where we have a lot of fun updates with information and resources. So absolutely connect with us and then let us know if you have any questions. But for now, let's move into what your questions are. Feel free to jump online. There's also the chat box. I did see one question from early on in the presentation. So let me just pull that chat up. So the question was, how do you keep in touch with people you network with if you don't see them regularly? This is a great question because Vera and I were just talking about this yesterday. So we have a list at least once a month minimally. Get on LinkedIn and look through your newsfeed, comment, like, react, share information, send a message. Really just commenting on other folks' posts usually is enough to get some conversation going. It's hard thinking I don't see people anymore because we don't go out, for happy hour or, team offsites and things like that. So you have to mentally remember to go in and just scope things out. So occasionally I'll just go through my contact list, like, oh, I haven't heard from that person in a while, and just send them a note. Hey, thinking of you. Having that nice touch thinking you crossed my mind today. How are you? How's life, or how's that project going? Or hey, whatever did happen with the customer, just following up with whatever connected you in the beginning is super helpful. So that's one way to do it. Vera, do you have any other ideas?
No, I was just thinking about all the things that pop up, on our news feed when you get on there. It's really exciting because you do see, I love when I get the notification of this person, their anniversary, they've been at this,
Mhm.
working at this place for 3 years now. And so it's almost like in that regard, like Facebook, where it's like, oh, yeah, great. It reminded me of their birthday, right? So, right. So it's just a way it keeps you informed. And that's really, I'm trying to think if there's anything else. No, I mean, honestly, it's really being support for others. There's people that I see on there all the time, past colleagues I haven't seen them for years. I mean, there's some that I'm sure it's like 10 plus years that I haven't seen them, but it's amazing how we actually maintain that quote unquote relationship alive just by even saying, wow, that's great to see you're doing that now, that sort of thing. And then all of a sudden, it almost like rekindles relationships, and you don't have to necessarily see them at all. Trina, did you have a question?
I do. Thanks. I'm wondering, what could you share with the candidates in terms of etiquette and appropriateness for them reaching out and connecting with the recruiters? I know you kind of briefly touched on it before, but that's been a question I've been asked quite a bit, and it'll be nice to share with a candidate.
Sure. So first and foremost, do not waste their time. I'm serious. Recruiters are very, very busy. Like Vera said earlier, average rate right now is 250 applicants per job posting, national average, right? They aren't going to look at you unless you're applying. If you're like, oh, I just want to learn more, they don't have time for that because they have 250 other people that are very much interested in the role. So ideally, apply for the job and then go make that connection. So earlier I had that Lisa Howard recruiter on that one job posting I was showing. So you would apply and then you would go to that job posting, click on her, hit connect, and then send a note and say, hi, my name is Stephanie. I just applied for the career coach position. I'm really excited to bring to the table my skill of LinkedIn. I know the ins and outs of this platform, and I'm really excited to show your employees on how to build their brand with that. If you have a few minutes to talk, I'd love to touch base with you. But if not, just wanted to say hi, and I'm very excited about this opportunity. Peace. Now, granted, there's like 200 character limits, so you can't do that. That's me just rambling, but you want to make sure you apply, make sure you state your value. Like, what do you bring to the table? And then, like, what role are you actually applying for? Because they definitely have more than one requisition out there per job role. Vera, do you have anything to add to that?
No, exactly that. You need to keep it short and sweet. The more we've learned about that, by just doing our own research, we realize short, sweet, to the point, right? But the fact that you reach out, it means everything, because the way you need to think about it is that you already have the no by not reaching out. Right.
Mhm.
And so a lot of times that actually is what prevents us. It's more the fear aspect. And if you think too much about it, go with your gut instinct in the moment, apply, and it's part of the action, right? So your motivational action plan. And so part of it is, again, just like how she mentioned, really just saying hello, again, right? Visibility factor, increasing that visibility factor. And that way they have a face to the document. And so it's just being short, concise, and again, branding, right? And in showing that enthusiasm, right? It really excites me to work for XYZ company because your values state this, and that very much align with my values, right? That's just another way, another perspective, right, to come at it. But again, don't be too long, right? Because then it comes off like you're trying too hard. But if you say a wow statement, an impact statement, then that's really a great start.
And I will say, creating a value statement is hard. I mean, Vera and I have struggled with that even up until recently with our own company. So,
Mm.
one idea, honestly, to throw out there, go look at some job titles job postings. I mean, research your job title and go look at the job posting. And what are these companies saying? What are they looking for? And usually within that first paragraph, there's a value statement buried in there that you can swipe because you are looking at that job role, right? And so, if you're a teacher, there's going to be some personal abilities that they want to know about you. So look into those first couple of paragraphs, think about the interpersonal skills that you have and bring that together. If you're more in tech, then it's probably more about customers, right? So your value statement should be saying something about like delivering to customers or something along those lines. So research, go look at those job postings, see what they're saying, what are they looking for? And within that first paragraph, there's probably some golden nuggets for you to pull out for your own personal value statement when it comes to the job role that you're targeting.
Absolutely. And there's keywords, right, Stephanie, that we've heard a lot of lately for 20. I mean, it's almost like here are the keywords, those buzzwords, the buzzword bank for 2021 that people are just more, it's becoming almost like more of the common lingo or lingo that hiring professionals want to hear, right? Like traits that you have. One that we've been hearing is like transformational leadership.
Mm-hmm.
Wow, right? I mean, how much more of an impact than, I'm a great leader. Okay, that's great. What kind of leader, right? There's so many different types of leader. We all know that. It's like what kind of, so a transformational or transformational servant, or to say, I have a really, I have a strong emotional intelligence that I really utilize as an educator, right? Something, think of those things that are wow statements, but that align with who you are.
Mm-hmm. That's true. Adaptability, critical thinking, problem solving. You could Google this, like what are some skill sets coming out of 2020? There's loads of them, and then you could tailor it down to your industry.
Well, that's a great time for me to thank you guys, but to also plug the magazine, because not only is there an article written by these ladies in the magazine, you don't want to miss that one. That's some great information in there, but there's also some keywords, some action words, and information about how to add those to your resume. So definitely make sure you get a copy or a link of the magazine. You can go on the website, or it's actually on the job board. So just go to, I think it's our booth, diversityined.com's booth, and you'll be able to see the article and some other information to help with that resume. But I just want to thank you, ladies, so much. This is an awesome presentation. I have lots of notes. I have access to the video, but I will share it. I won't keep it all to myself. It's too much information to keep all to myself. And I will be reviewing it again. We'll put some notes out, and we'll be sharing it on social media and sending the link out to you all so you can kind of review it, because it's really great guide for you all to prepare your LinkedIn, which is incredibly important in connecting with recruiters, school districts, and the employers to help you get that best job. So thank you all so very much. And again, what's the web address? Do you have your contact information you could put back up there, that screen, that slide?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. And again, it will be on the website, but I just want them to kind of snapshot, screenshot, and take a picture of it so they can give you all a call. Both Vera, and Stephanie, they're doing consulting. They're career coaches, and they also do resume writing. They're professionals, certified. So you definitely want to get in touch with them if you're looking for some help and some guidance with preparing your resumes and cover letters. So good luck with all candidates, and thank you all so much, presenters. We certainly appreciate your time and expertise. See you the next time.
Absolutely.
Thanks for having us.
Right.
We always enjoy.
Always a pleasure. Always a pleasure. So we just hope that everybody enjoyed it and learned something today.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Right. Absolutely. All right. Thank you, guys. And I'm going to say goodbye to all of our other attendees at the event, and hopefully everyone found what they were looking for and connected with all the right people. So I'll see you guys next time. Bye-bye.
Thank you, everybody, for being here. Bye-bye.
Bye.